According to an article that I was reading over online, just doing a little research prior to this video on the patriarchal structure and traditional gender roles, often reinforce women's subordination status, limiting their agency and decision making power when it comes to money. These norms can be deeply ingrained and resistant to change as it relates to our, and this can lead to violence, domestic violence issues, higher divorce rate or separation rate. There are many times in my African culture, women might choose to separate from their partners or their husbands, but not divorce. And that's a bit sad. To check out this clip that I'm going to link here, this stitch that I'm going to link here, for how well she articulated that. She's Nigerian. I'm Ghanaian, but Nigeria and Ghana pretty much have similar ideology, besides the Ghana jollof and Nigerian jollof controversy. Which one is better? Gina Chumesi here, your favorite Sackness practitioner, where I talk about everything relating to mental health, depression, anxiety, name it, and also healing trauma and leveling up after healing. Should I say, should I go? Separation, divorce, and everything in between. Trying to normalize and reduce the stigma that comes along with such issues in our culture, in our Ghanaian culture. So I'll put that little research that I did here. And really sad in a lot of African Ghanaian marriages, specifically because I'm a Ghanaian. There's no romance. Like, I was married over 14 years, and many of our men have been conditioned that showing a woman, love, attention, affection, romance, holding hands, giving pecks or kisses. You go to a party, you're sitting with your woman, whispering, just be lovey-dovey. It's just like they have to be all this macho kind of thing. Even a thing about giving you a compliment, it's a very misogynistic attitude at all towards relationship. Like, there's a lot of marriages, a lot of women in marriages are sexually frustrated. Try to minimize using that word so I don't get canceled, because there's a lot of marriages lack foreplay. A lot of marriages, couples are living as though they are roommates. And it's pretty sad. A lot of men in my culture, because of the ego, because of the misogynistic mindset, because of the heavy laden structure of the patriarchy, are unwilling to consider or change or be mellow. If they see their counterpart doing it, they call them, oh, they're too soft, they're too feminine, they're simps, I don't rule my house like that. And these are the same men who are running around the street acting like they're single, cheating with all the Instagram models, doing all this stuff. Tell me how this makes sense. There's no romance. Women lack autonomy, especially when it comes to finances. Many women just default out of respect, because you're supposed to be submissive and respectful to our men. So a lot of women think just having agency, using a brain, is just too much. And a lot of the men will give a lot of these women pushback for them being able to have a say, especially when it comes to financial decision makings. A lot of men in my community will literally make big financial decisions, like building a house back home in Ghana, doing businesses back home in Ghana, or even in the diaspora, with zero input from the women. Only a small majority of them, especially when you're starting off and you guys are all like trying to figure out things out financially. A lot of time at that point, I remember at times where my paycheck was given to me. I was managing the paycheck, everything. And then when things start to separate, a lot of men, once they start to have the status of having more money, they switch up. When I say money, a lot of times in our culture, Poor men are more submissive. Once they get money, it's all like boom, everything just goes out the window. A lot of our men do this, and they start to push out the women who were there when they started together. This is why it's important as a woman, as a girl child, educate the girl child. As a woman, do not ever quit your job. Even if you're staying home as a stay-at-home mom, make sure you have paperwork, legal backing for you to have a set amount that will provide for you your current living status that's equivalent to the man's living status, and as well as have funds being saved up for you towards retirement. Don't play, because if anything should happen to that man and he's no longer here, or he switches up and he's no longer in the relationship, you have to ensure that you can take care of yourself, at least your basic needs, with you and your children. So that autonomy thing is very important, and not having aspiration. And then aspirations, a lot of African men will literally dominate you to the point they will bash you to the point they are flying monkeys, their families, their friends, all of them, because a lot of the women have been conditioned also to just be flying low, being quiet, being submissive, be a good girl, be a nice woman, be likable. Some of us who talk like that, oh, she's just too much. She's just too much of, like, she's not marriage material. She is not coming from she's not good natured. But if you don't talk, how does change happen? It took a bunch of women to talk for this feminist movement to come. So we also have some rights. Just because we are trying to assert ourselves doesn't mean we are not humble or respectful or kind. Or a lot of us women like this, we are the ones who are more loyal. I'm not blowing my own by any means, but if I'm blowing, I said what I said. A lot of them become...
African ladies, listen to me. You are fabulous, beautiful, scrumptious, tantalizing. What other word will I use? Listen, everything that you are naturally, they're copying. You're not only beautiful, you're intelligent, you're family oriented, you raise the best children, you have the best men, your food is too sweet. Okay?
Because a significant percentage of black women suffer from what I call maniac syndrome. Masculine attitudes, disagreeable, wanting to be in charge and in control.
Been out with black women or approached black women, and before they even knew me, they said, how many kids you got? How many baby mamas you got?
Black women so angry.
How do I feel about black women? And to answer that, the reason why I don't date them a lot of the times isn't necessarily because of the way that they look. It's because a lot of the behaviors that's championed in that community. Now, with that said, I've dated plenty of black girls before that were feminine and submissive and weren't a headache, but I've dated a lot. I've dealt with a lot that were headaches, and I've come to realize in that culture, unfortunately, it's championed to be strong and independent and not respect male authority in the black community, because a lot of them are fatherless, and since they're fatherless, they don't have that masculine authority to let them know, hey, you need to follow a man's lead. Women, a lot of the times from black communities, unfortunately, grew up in a single mother household where she tells them niggas ain't shit. Then she has a sister that says niggas ain't shit. The music perpetuate niggas ain't shit. And then what ends up happening is they grow up and then they don't have a general respect for men. And then they meet you, and then you get a lot of those toxic traits coming into you because they weren't naturally taught how to be a lady. They were very masculinized since birth because they didn't have a man figure.
You're right. Wait, let me just tell them this. Let me just say this. You're absolutely right. Just really quick, you're right, because I did that, and you got to take self-accountability.
Black women have a problem that most black men are stepping outside of their race, right? Well, fact number one is there's a reason for that. If those men are searching for feminine women, why don't you just implement what they're looking for? Fact number two, what they ended up doing is those of you that are capable and, willing to work and become a successful African-American woman. So now let's switch it up. So now we have African-American women who are super successful. What's the first thing that they do? They shit on the black man. Now we got stats. Black women are graduating colleges at a higher rate than black men. Black women are more making 30% or whatever the stat is more than black men. And they rave about it instead of saying, I'm going to give back to my community.
And they don't mentor the women below them. And they don't understand that black men don't care about your degree.
Yep.
We don't care about your profession.
Facts.
And now you're by yourself.
Because you're not a partner. And you're operating for yourself.
The black woman is oppressed by European standards of beauty. Black women spend more money on cosmetics than all other women put together in America. You know why? Because from the plantation to the projects to the penitentiary to the playground, she been told she ugly. And because of that, Black women spend disproportionately more money on cosmetics than all other women put together per capita of her population.
As a Black woman, especially a dark-skinned Black woman, my dating life doesn't look like going after who I want. It's normally settling for who wants me. Because Black women are the most undesirable group in the whole world. You ever notice how it's normal for every single racial group to date inside their group? And the Black community is the only community I see where a majority of their men bash their own women. And it's if other races do want to date us, most of the time they just fetishizing us. But you know what's really crazier? I'm a whisperer, so I don't get the palm color mad. But the most desirable group spends thousands of dollars to look like Black women. But somehow, when they change themselves to look like us, they get all the praise. And Black women get bashed for looking like it naturally. What? I said what I said.
Common knowledge among the ignorant and uneducated and uninformed. First and foremost, I'd like to see this study. I'd like to see some evidence or some proof from this study. Because I'd also like to see the demographics. I'd like to see the locations where people were asked. Where did they live? Because if you ask people who live in a racist or non-diverse community, of course they're going to say, well, Black women are the least desirable. And when somebody says that, you really need to ask, why is that the case? Are they just inherently the least desirable? Well, no, that would be dumb. So there are other factors that play a role in that. At least you would think, right? Because there's a reason for everything. So you have to keep going and digging for knowledge and information and not just accept an answer because, some hypothetical people somewhere said that Black women were the least desirable. So yeah, you have to dig a little bit. So let's say that study existed. People say that, and they do say that Black women are the least desirable. Okay, fine. But let's break that down as to why. America has spent centuries promoting a standard of beauty that is not Black. So they have downplayed, denigrated, and diminished our features for centuries. Only within the last few decades has that started to get some pushback. See, with some of you people, I really don't think you understand how programming works. And this isn't some grand conspiracy. If I want to give people the benefit of the doubt, you have a dominant majority in this society, so of course they're going to uplift and elevate their own features.
Only reason some men don't date Black women, he's intimidated by a strong disposition, inability to be manipulated, and don't approach her because you see through BS and game all the way. I'm a Blackitarian, meaning I only eat in court, only Black women. You bring my seam, Instagram fuel for the body. TikTok, you bring my seam now. It's funny how effortlessly Black women are naturally beautiful with or without makeup. You see, a face card never declines when it's a Black card.
Interracial divorce rates. This is pretty interesting. A Black man and a white woman are 200% more likely to be divorced. An Asian man and a white woman are 59% more likely to be divorced. An Asian woman and a white man are 4% more likely to be divorced. But this is the crown of the study. A white man and a Black woman are 44% less likely to get divorced.
And a white woman get married, they're 200% more likely to get divorced.
I know y'all not gonna like this. I know y'all not gonna like this. I know. But this is one of the reasons why I encourage my friends to date more than just Black men. From a statistical standpoint, as a Black woman, you are incredibly more likely to have a successful marriage and a successful family unit once you expand your horizons. And I get it. I swear I do. I love Black men too. But even if every eligible Black man married an eligible Black woman tomorrow, there'd still be an overwhelmingly amount of single Black women left because we outnumber them drastically. Being married is not a goal for me, but if it's a goal for you, go about it just like you would for any other goal. Set yourself up for success and increase your probability of succeeding.
Now, but I love black women. I think they are my preference, but it's harder to, it's harder to date them, you know, especially like if you're under 6 foot. I mean, that's a big deal, being over 6 foot. But the, you know, girls from other races, they're like, does he make 3,000 pounds a year? Did he go to Cambridge, Oxford? And if you did that, it's a wrap. They're gonna take you. But, you know, I don't think black women generally value the education and that different kind of clout, right?
Why date a black woman? Because she's gonna tell you not what you wanna hear, but what you need to hear. Why date a black woman? Because she sees the potential inside of you, and she is not your enemy. Why date a black woman? Because she is amazing on the next level, and she wants to be with you through the famine season, through the storms. She believes in you. Why date a black woman? Because you might see your vision and no one else understands it, but she does. And she's going around bragging to everyone that you're going to be the next big thing. Why date a black woman? Because God blesses you with her by your side, because she looks around and sees the things that you overlook. Why date a black woman? Because she is going to be empathetic to your struggle, things you deal with in this life as a black man. She's going to be someone that comforts you and be by your side through it all.
Black women are not bad. Black women are not evil the way black men are portraying them on social media, on media. The whole stereotype about black women are not true. It might be true for some women, but not all black women. You can't use one experience, a single experience, and generalize it and say all black women are this. No, black men have to do a better job at protecting their women and stop tearing down their women out of pain, out of frustration, out of the feeling of being defeated. It's not moving the community forward.
The black woman is the most disrespected person in America.
Along with that, it's not the black man. So we get disrespected from the world and our women.
This podcast is the perfect example of black men not being able to contextualize intersectionality and how it affects black women. The reason why Malcolm X said that black women are the most disrespected group of people in America is because he understood that black women don't just experience racism, they experience sexism along with it. The reason why Malcolm X's movement was so powerful and so inspirational is because he validated every black person's lived experience with marginalization in this country. He understood that there are separate forms of oppression that black women go through that black men don't experience. Hence why he said the most disrespected. These podcasters would rather have a gotcha moment so they can get a couple views on TikTok and YouTube. They're not actually interested in productive, collaborative conversations or creating a space where everybody can air their grievances against their oppressors.
And that's being generous and kind about it. Now, let's get to the masculine attributes part of this statement. Any man that opens their mouth to tell me that black women have masculine attributes is instantly showing me their weakness. They're showing me they're soft. They're showing me what they cannot handle. They're showing me their fear. They're showing me their inadequacy. If that is a complaint, in my mind, why should I respect you as a man? And often it's the dudes that claim that they're the most masculine that complain the most. Can some black women have more masculine attributes? Yes, that is not unique to black women. But for you dudes that complain about it, that act like black women are just more masculine, have a seat, child.